Deep Dungeon is a roguelike game mode in Final Fantasy XIV where players can tackle a 100 or 200 floor dungeon in Palace of the Dead, Heaven on High, or the now released Eureka Orthos, which came out the day before this video. This content is meant for a party of 4, but players have the option to enter alone, and if you manage to clear the dungeon from start to end without dying, it comes with its own special achievement and title. The Necromancer and Lone Hero titles are some of the most acclaimed titles in the game. Clearing once is hard enough, but some players decided they wanted to clear both deep dungeons with each job. That's 38 clears. My goodness. Introducing the 13 OMNICLEARERS of Palace of the Dead and Heaven on High that you want to watch out for in Eureka Orthos. First up is Alithia Nicole. She was the first player to ever clear Heaven on High solo and the 4th player to ever clear Palace of the Dead solo. She paved the way for many. After her initial clears of both deep dungeons as Red Mage, she wanted to see if it was possible to clear with other jobs. Heaven on High, she got world first in Warrior, Dragoon, Monk, White Mage, Dancer, and Astrologian, and in Palace of the Dead, she was the world first to clear with Samurai, Dancer, Paladin, Dragoon, Monk, Warrior, Ninja, then Dark Knight. I'm only listing the jobs that she was the world first to clear with, but of course she cleared all the other jobs as well. Her journey came to an end on March 1st, 2021 when she cleared her final job, Astrologian in Palace of the Dead. This marked her as both the first to ever clear Astrologian in Palace and the first player to ever clear both deep dungeons with every job, the first OMNICLEAR. Though if you go to the official Final Fantasy XIV Lodestone Deep Dungeons ranking website, you'll find none of her clears are listed in the Aether data center where she's from. At a certain point, she transferred servers, and when you transfer servers, all your scores are removed from the leaderboards. When she returned to her home world, she re-cleared some jobs with higher scores, but again, you won't find them if you check the leaderboards now, because in December 2021, right after she got the world first Palace of the Dead Reaper clear, her character got deleted off Final Fantasy XIV for whatever reason. Not only were her scores gone, she lost everything in Final Fantasy XIV, so out of frustration, she even deleted all of her clear VODs and videos. She was gone completely from the scene, almost like she never existed. And because there's no trace of her, it's very difficult to understand the impact she had in the solo deep dungeon scene. There's no way to know when she got her job clears because they're not on the leaderboards other than this image. This image in this video is your only source to her original clears. But in mid-2021, she returned with a brand new character on the Crystal Data Center in Balmung and started getting clears again with some ludicrous scores. She got the highest scores in the world for several jobs, and her ninja score in particular got the highest score in any Heaven on High job run at the time with a score of 1.97. All this to say, she still got it. After Alithia's world first OMNICLEAR, a second runner to clear all jobs wouldn't come for another half year until Lily Ahorn from Japan on August 30th, 2021 when she cleared Palace of the Dead as Black Mage. A little trend you'll notice from here is that almost everyone on this list finishes their OMNICLEARing journey with either Astrologian or Black Mage in Palace of the Dead as their final jobs. Fun fact about Lily, her favorite emote is the Shocked emote, and she loves it so much she has it binded to her 8-key hotbar. She doesn't have a Twitter, but if you go to her YouTube channel bio, it simply states, "I stream Deep Dungeon sometimes." Let the gameplay speak for itself, right? Though unlike others on this list, once Lily achieved her OMNICLEAR goal, she didn't focus on re-clearing them too much. Most OMNICLEARers on this list continue doing runs even after achieving OMNICLEAR. They'll usually do re-clears for high score runs, challenge runs, or livestream entertainment. Lily took it easy on the re-clears, but still does a run once in a while. Their most recent run was a simple Red Mage re-clear for their alt character. But surely when the new Deep Dungeon drops, you might see a return. If I had to give the title of the ultimate OMNICLEARer, it would be Fania Eckert. On September 13th, 2021, just 2 weeks after Lily's OMNICLEAR, Fania cleared Palace of the Dead as Black Mage to become the 3rd OMNICLEARer in the world, beating both deep dungeons with every available job. But here's the catch, their OMNICLEAR journey was not over yet. When the Endwalker expansion was released, of course they cleared with the new jobs, Reaper and Sage, but I don't mean just that. After Reaper and Sage, they took the challenge a step further and took off their characters' job stones. They continued their journey to clear deep dungeons with every class without a job stone, and they were no strangers to this challenge as they cleared Palace of the Dead with Pugilist all the way back in October 2020. At least with melees and tank classes, spinning makes the challenge a little bearable. But spinning as Thaumaturge is a pain, you only get to use Scathe, but you can't even spin as an Arcanist or a Conjurer, and to clear both deep dungeons with all these classes, no job stones? That's unbelievably mad. Despite that, on October 3rd, 2022, Fania beat Heaven on High with every no jobstone class, and on December 9th, 2022, they cleared Palace of the Dead as a conjurer, something no one else has done still, to become the only player in the world to have cleared with every job and class. And even after that, they're still doing more things in Deep Dungeons. They did high score runs. They have a Palace of the Dead run with a score of over 3.4 million. They did speedruns. They have a Heaven on High run cleared in under 3 hours. And as I'm editing this video, I see them tackling Heaven on High with absolutely no pomanders. Absolutely insane player. Taratara. This turkey head Lalafell became the 4th OMNICLEARER in the world on October 29th, 2021, with their final job being Astrologian in Palace of the Dead. After their OMNICLEAR, Taratara continued to play Deep Dungeon in 2022 with a heavy focus on high scores. They revisited every job to push the absolute limits of scoring. On August 16, 2022, Taratara cleared a Machinist run on Heaven on High with a shattering score of 1.979 million, overtaking Alithia's Ninja score to become the highest score run ever for Heaven on High to this day. To get a score like that, you need a very lucky RNG run filled with big palms but also have the skills to capitalize on it. The week of this video's release, Amber String on Primal came extremely close to overtaking that score but was just 7,000 points short. Then on February 9, 2023, Taratara did a Machinist run for Palace of the Dead that reached a score of 3.477, again becoming the highest score ever for that Deep Dungeon. And no score even comes close to that. Mind you, as of right now, there's only 11 clears that reach a score of 3.4 million. Yet, Taratara's Machinist score is somehow closer to 3.5 million than 3.4. So if we're going by the numbers, Taratara is the best Deep Dungeon player, right? After Taratara, there wouldn't be any new OMNICLEARERS for the rest of Shadowbringers. When Endwalker came out in December 2021, 2 new jobs, Reaper and Sage, were added to the OMNICLEAR challenge as well. Additionally, the new expansion introduced many changes to every job. Summoner got a complete revamp and functions as a totally new job. But the changes made it a very strong job for Deep Dungeon. In fact, almost all jobs received changes that made them stronger overall for Deep Dungeons. Back in Shadowbringer, many jobs were restricted by the 180 boss fight. The DPS checks seemed impossible for certain jobs to pull off without spinning. Dancer was a job that people believed had to spin in order to clear the 180 fight until Norbin Shakeflake came along. In January 2021, Norbin showcased that by using the burst damage of 2 resolution pomanders, very precise rotation, and good RNG for Mountainfall procs, it was possible to beat it without spinning. Afterwards, Norbin collaborated with runners Alithia and Treno Martin to figure out the 180 push for Bard. This push was so tight and extremely precise it came down to the server tick. Only Norbin and Alithia ever cleared the 180 boss fight as Bard without spinning before Endwalker. When Endwalker made almost every job better for Deep Dungeons, the exception was Astrologian, which some runners argue became worse, but Norbin had already cleared that job during Shadowbringer, so that was no worry. On December 30th, 2021, Norbin finished their final Heaven on High job as Black Mage. Then on January 14th, 2022, Norbin finished their OMNICLEAR after beating Palace of the Dead again as Black Mage, making them the 5th OMNICLEAR in the world. Well, technically 4th according to the official site, since by this point all of Alithia's scores vanished. Aurora is an actual IRL Lucario known as the healer specialist within the community, having done numerous healer runs, made a healer guide, and somehow managed to get a world first clear in Heaven on High as a conjurer on their first try. While they excel with healers, they are still a strong player with any job. Originally, Aurora didn't have too much of a presence in the community and would quietly clear numerous Heaven on High jobs as a lurker. But near the release of Endwalker, they began streaming and getting more involved within the Deep Dungeon community. By this point, they had already OMNICLEARed Heaven on High. When Endwalker released, Aurora was the first in the world to clear Heaven on High with the new job, Sage. After clearing the other new job, Reaper, they were once again finished with every Heaven on High job, but still had lots of clears left to do in Palace. Very quickly, they powered through clears for the 200 floor dungeon on and off stream. Additionally, their Twitch stream grew just as quickly. Many people enjoyed the fun and friendly atmosphere provided by the Pokemon. By May, they averaged an audience of 100 viewers tuning in to watch the Astrologian prog. Their second to last job clear, their main job in the game, a job they've been trying to clear for 3 years with over 90 attempts. And at this point, no one in Endwalker had cleared as Astrologian. Half a year after Endwalker's release, Aurora finally got their clear on May 2022, which came with a very emotional reaction. The Twitch chat was so supportive with donations during this moment that it actually crashed their stream, and you never actually get to see their character finishing on floor 200. When the stream returns, you see them standing outside in Quarry Mill. Viewers are left with a suspenseful moment, wondering if their game died alongside the stream. If an internet issue caused the stream to crash, then that would have disconnected the game as well, which counted as a game over. But Aurora assures everyone that this was, in fact, the clear. Shortly after, they finish off their OmniClear journey with a Black Mage run as a celebratory final run. The viewership gained during this period was also enough to successfully gain Twitch partnership. One of the biggest hurdles players have to overcome when doing Deep Dungeon is getting over the nerves. When you've put over 10 hours into a run and you know you have to do it all over again if you mess up, it'll get to you. Not to this guy though, Finn Bizal. He literally doesn't get nervous in these situations, and that's a huge strength. Cool, calm, and calculated, Finn had no problem getting clears for every job in one or a few tries. To add on to that, he didn't just clear every job, he cleared every job with top scores. Finn is really good at optimizing. He took what was known about scoring factors and figured out how to get the most points out of a run. While some runners will focus on just getting a clear the first time around and then consider redoing it as a score run, Finn figured he didn't want to do each job twice, so he made sure his first clears for jobs were also some really good score clears. There was a point in May 2022 when Finn held the highest score for every job in Heaven on High in the Aether Data Center. Then they got their Omni clear in August when they cleared Astrologian, then Black Mage and Palace of the Dead. But their real Omni victory came when they re-cleared Palace of the Dead Dark Knight with a higher score, and by doing that, they held the #1 highest score for every job in Palace of the Dead for the Aether Data Center. Finn is very open about his strategies, and he shares his knowledge for Deep Dungeon and scoring through his Twitch stream and his written guide on scoring optimization. Hi, this is VTuber Dale Koopa, and here we have a lodestone image of Tianon Chart Risu because, well, I have no gameplay footage of them. I don't know their Twitter or YouTube, I couldn't find it, or they don't have one. But I know they're an OmniClearer because I checked all the leaderboards rankings in the Gaia Data Center, and they are listed in every single one of them. Here they are for Astrologian, and here they are for Black Mage. If they're on for Astrologian and Black Mage, they're usually a contender for an OmniClear, right? I listed down all their clears by order to see what was their final job clear. And it was Machinist, which is really weird because the trend so far is that you're supposed to end your OmniClearing journey with either Palace of the Dead, Astrologian, or Black Mage, right? Well, they actually got that out the way like very early on. That was like their 5th and 7th job clears. In fact, the very first jobs they cleared is super weird. They got all the healers out the way first. Scholar Palace, Scholar Healer, Sage Palace, Astro Palace, White Mage Palace. You're not supposed to do that. Most people save healers for last. They did the opposite. In fact, the more down you go, the easier the jobs get. It goes Monk, Bard, Dancer, Samurai, Reaper, Dragoon, Ninja, Paladin. Then the tanks are like a little easier, right? Dark Knight, Gunbreaker, Warrior, and then Red Mage and Summoner. They end their Palace Omni with Summoner, which is one of the strongest jobs. They're just getting the hard ones out the way first. They're that type of person. Get the hard ones out the way and then just everything else gets easier, right? Monk, Dragoon, Ninja, Samurai, Reaper, Red Mage, Summoner, Dancer, Bard, and here comes the tanks, right? Tanks are usually regarded as like the best role to take on for Heaven on High. Paladin, Dark Knight, Gunbreaker, Warrior. And then ending on Machinist. They started with Machinist, Palace of the Dead, and they end with Machinist, Heaven on High. And it's a couple times where they clear like 2 jobs at the same time. Like right here, August 12th, they cleared Dragoon, and then less than 2 hours later, they cleared Ninja. That means they prepped both melee files back to back, and they did the 191 set back to back. I don't have like a real full story to tell about them, but I think we got a somewhat of an idea of what this type of player is like just by looking at their clear dates. Now I gotta note this, because they don't have like a Twitter, usually people post like their "I just got Omni on this day" type of post, right? That's usually what I use to verify what day that someone got their Omni clear. I can't do that with this person. Because I'm only relying on their leaderboard scores, which is not very reliable, because the problem with the leaderboard score is that their last clear, right? It's Machinist on November 28th. The only problem is this could have been a re-clear. Maybe they cleared Machinist long time ago, and then they re-cleared it because maybe the score was so low it wasn't on the leaderboard. Maybe it got kicked off the top 25, right? So they re-cleared it, and then maybe they got it back on the board, and then maybe their Omni clear was actually with Warrior, right? That's a possibility. I have no way to verify this, but judging by the fact that this person started out with Astro and Black Mage for their clears, I can believe that they, for some reason, ended their OmniClear journey with Machinist on November 28th. But it isn't 100% guaranteed. So what I just talked about with Tianon becomes an even bigger issue here with Mug Fluorite. They're also from the Gaia data center. I did the same thing. I just clicked on every job to make sure they're on it. And they are. And I listed it down again to see if maybe their clear dates tell a story. And I actually ran into a problem here. So if you look, their last job clear listed on the rankings is Machinist. But unlike Tianon, I don't think that was actually where their OmniClear journey ended. Because this Machinist score they have here, first place with a score of 1.9 million, this was clearly a scoring reclear. I don't think this was their original clear. And if you look at the pattern of their clears, right, this is not like Tianon where they for some reason did Astrologian and Black Mage at the start. No, this person saved Astrologian, Black Mage, Scholar, Healer for last. Astrologian, and ending on Astrologian and Black Mage Palace makes a lot of sense, right? From the trend we've seen, with the exception of Tianon. So I am more likely to believe that their OmniClear journey actually ended on November 30th with this Astrologian clear, and then after that, their Dancer Heaven on High clear is most likely a reclear. Let's look at their Dancer Heaven on High score. Their second place, 1.85. Yeah, I could believe that to be a reclear. But again, I have no proof of this. I'm literally just guessing that November 30th was when they got their OmniClear. But otherwise, everything else looks pretty standard. They went on a big Heaven on High grind over the years. This was pretty steady. They started in 2021, and then they finished up Heaven on High in 2022, and then they began their Palace grind, and then that ended on November 30th. That is what I believe happened. And that's what I'm gonna go with for this video. Angelus Demonus is the most recognized name within the Deep Dungeon community. Angelus is an OG who's progged the content from the beginning, but Angelus isn't simply just another good runner. For years, Angelus worked towards building the Deep Dungeon community. Angelus' channel is the most popular Deep Dungeon stream, and he's created numerous live job tutorial videos and guides to introduce and help new players into this very niche game mode. He helps guide streamers from the wider Final Fantasy XIV space such as Zepla and Shenpai to their Heaven on High and Palace of the Dead clears. Recently, he managed to showcase the game mode to an even larger audience by playing the 171 set of Palace at AGDQ. Of course, he's also on this list because he's cleared with every job. Steady over the years, one live broadcast for each job, Angelus finally got his OmniClear in December of 2022, ending with none other than Palace of the Dead, Astrologian. Also, this guy plays on a keyboard-only setup, so he's the only OmniClearer to do that probably. The initial Necromancer and Lone Hero journeys are a challenge that many newcomers dread. And yeah, this mode will kick anyone's ass for a long time until you get your first clear. Yet, every single person on this list took things way further after their first clear. There's no title or reward for OmniClearing, only a ridiculous and insane challenge, and pain. So then why did everybody on this list go so far? Well, this runner put it best. Deep Dungeon is the most fun game I've ever played. I like challenges. Finally, we have Blank Krista. They began their Deep Dungeon journey in September of 2020 with Heaven on High. While playing around with various jobs, they naturally achieved the OmniClear on January 21st, 2023, with a Palace of the Dead Astrologian run. Afterwards, Blank has been trying his hand at no Jobstone Heaven on High runs. While many runners will be gunning for World First when Eureka Orthos comes out, Blank plans to take Deep Dungeon 3 slowly and dive alone from the beginning. And last on our list is Drum Rhapsody, another player that I couldn't find any VODs or Twitter of, so the only thing we can go off of is their scores on the leaderboards, which we've established might be inaccurate. Here are all the scores listed down in order again, and let's talk about it. They got Astrologian and Black Mage Palace of the Dead out the way almost immediately. Even earlier than Tianon did. This is their third and fourth clear listed on the leaderboard, which is wild. They cleared everything so fast. Their earliest recorded clear on the leaderboards is on November 5th, 2022, right? And then immediately, in that same month, 5, 6, 7, 8, that's 8 Deep Dungeon clears. the 8 deep dungeon clears, including Astrologian and Black Mage Palace. Like, what? They got so many jobs out the way immediately, and got the hardest ones out the way as well. And then they're just going on this tear. December comes and they have what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13? Did I count that correctly? Wow, that's a lot of clears. 1 month? And then for didn't even do Bard, they did Archer. and then comes January, right? The new year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, Archer, 11, Pugilist, 13. Again, 13 clears. Like both December and January, they're doing like almost 1 clear every other day. That's insane. And then they finish it all up in February with their last remaining 4 jobs, which are Machinist and the Tanks, which are regarded as some of the easier jobs you can take on for Heaven on High. So they're like Tianon, where they decided to get all the hard ones out the way first. But on top of that, they really got the hard ones out the way first. And I think this is the shortest amount of time it took to get OmniClear. I mean, from November 5th, 2022 to just February 8th, 2023, I think that's just about 3 months. That is absolutely incredible. And this person completely slipped under my radar. I didn't even realize there was an OmniClear that finished the challenge this fast until I was making this video. So a true hidden boss, I'll say that. This dude really decided to finish his OmniClearer journey 2 days before Eureka Orthos came out, huh? Now my script is ruined, and I have to re-edit this video to talk about the 13 OmniClearers instead of 12. Oh, okay, man. And he knew I was making this video too, bruh. Alright, what can I say about Sig? He made a really detailed Palace of the Dead Red Mage video guide, so he's pretty good at that job. He used to be #1 Palace of the Dead Red Mage on Crystal, but then he made a new character on the Ether Data Center, which is where his main is now. So the Crystal's DC's #1 and 2 Red Mage scores were by Sig and Angelus, which neither of them are Crystal. So I made it my own personal mission that a Crystal player get back #1 from these invaders. Then over in Ether, he got Heaven on High Omni in August 2022, then half a year later, he finishes his Palace of the Dead Omni right at the end to become the 13th and final Omni clear to beat Palace of the Dead and Heaven on High before the release of Eureka Orthos. It's like, if you wanted a longer section, you should have Omni cleared earlier, man, making me re-edit this video at like 5 AM. And with that, those are the 13 Omni clears that have mastered Deep Dungeon and some of the strongest contenders to be looking out for during the race to Eureka Orthos Solo World First. Already the day of the dungeon's release, a team of Aurora, Finn, Sig, 3 Omni clears, and Meiji, the very first player in NA to ever get Necromancer, have made a run to the finish line as a team. Some others to look out for are these players who Omni cleared only 1 dungeon, still very strong. This was Koopa Kwan, and thanks for watching my video. I have to get back into Eureka Orthos and suffer now.